about to be in love. What?
What?
Yeah, what? Telling your girlfriend you love her for the very first time with the enthusiasm of ordering a sandwich. I mean, come on, Statler, you can do better than that. Now, remind me, why did your last relationship end again? You were moving too fast, weren't you?
My lease is up back home. Dempsey and I haven't really talked about it, but it might be something I'm considering, moving over here and moving in with her.
Just look at that grimace. Something tells me Dempsey's dad isn't impressed. Now, before we dive into all this awkwardness, let's rewind back to the start of this episode. So, when we last saw Statler and Dempsey, Statler was casually asking Dempsey if she ever cheated on her, only to later admit that she's the one with the track record of cheating in relationships. This revelation seemed to catch Dempsey off guard, and I don't think it helped when Statler also admitted that she might not be as over her ex as she thought she was. But when we join them in this episode, Statler's convinced that everything's going hunky-dory.
I've been at Dempsey's caravan for 2 days, and things are going really well.
Are you sure about that, Statler? All you've done since you've arrived is complain. And need I remind you, your partner wanted to cleanse your womanhood. I don't think that's a good sign. Maybe she's just warming to the English countryside. Maybe after 2 days, she's got used to having to poop outdoors. But whatever the reason, Statler's really happy with the direction the relationship's going.
I feel like she really sees me and accepts me and gets me, and it's heavenly.
It might be heavenly for you, Statler, but I don't think the same can be said from Dempsey's perspective. You see, in the 2 days that she's been staying with Dempsey, in Dempsey's small caravan or trailer, Statler has yet to have a shower. Not ideal in small, confined, closed spaces for a brand new girlfriend you're trying to impress.
I'm wondering how long it takes for a person to smell really bad, because cold showers is not it.
Nice. Now, in all fairness to her, cold showers in the middle of the English winter aren't exactly enjoyable. But Statler does eventually take the plunge. And it's a good thing that she does, because those cold temperatures might actually be very good practice for the chilly reception she's about to get shortly. But we'll get to that in a second. So what was it that finally convinced Statler to have a cold shower? Well, it seems like she has a very clear agenda.
I want to eventually talk to Dempsey about the possibility of me moving in with her, but I'm still a little concerned about the living situation.
Right, okay, well, just a pro tip. Rarely showering, constantly talking about your bowel movements and incessantly complaining might not be the best way to go about that. But there's also going to be some other obstacles, because today's the day that Dempsey's about to introduce Statler to her dad. Remember, Dempsey's dad is very protective of Dempsey, and it definitely doesn't help that Dempsey hasn't told her dad that she and Statler are in a relationship. So while the ladies are getting ready, Statler takes the opportunity to find out a little bit more about Dempsey's dad. Why did your dad disapprove of your ex? She asks.
Yeah, he got on with her well at first, and then stuff just happened in the relationship, and my dad obviously then didn't like my ex after that.
Very cryptic. Stuff just happened. I've seen more openness and honesty in my morning cup of coffee. It's interesting because these two are so different. I mean, unlike Statler, who seems to have verbal diarrhea, Dempsey's a closed book. There's a lot about her that we still don't know. Either way, this meeting between Statler and her dad is critical. If her dad doesn't like Statler, that's it. It's over.
Like you wouldn't be with me?
I would have to reconsider, yeah.
Yikes, okay, wow.
I guess as old-fashioned as that is, it's also quite sweet. The fact she's seeking her dad's approval and willing to trust his judgment even beyond her own just goes to show how close Dempsey and her dad are.
Yeah, he just wants me to be happy. It's such a huge deal to me that Like, he likes you.
No pressure then. All of Statler's plans, her entire relationship, rest on this meeting. Now, in the cab, on the journey to their meeting point, conversation comes back round to exes. It feels like this meeting, introducing Statler to her dad, is a big deal for Dempsey, and she wants some reassurance that their relationship means something to Statler. How do we compare to what you had with your ex? She asks.
Do you feel like you had, like, the same, like, connection with her as you said you'd do with me?
You can tell from her body language, the fidgeting with her earrings, the way she's looking at Statler, that she's seeking validation here. It's a moment of insecurity. I think partly she's looking for reassurance that she's making the right decision by introducing Statler to her dad. But I also think that last night's revelation that Statler still isn't over her ex might also be playing on Dempsey's mind here. But either way, Statler rises to the occasion. She makes it absolutely clear, in no uncertain terms, that to her, this relationship is special.
You just feel like my other half. I've never met anyone that's felt like my other half, so. No comparison.
Look at that smile. That's exactly what Dempsey wanted to hear. But I can't help but notice Statler's body language here. If you're delivering such a heartfelt message, it's a moment of vulnerability, it's a real bonding experience, the very least you should do is look the other person in the eye. Statler's really struggling to make eye contact. Now, we know she's an awkward lady, right? We've seen it firsthand, and maybe this is the nerves kicking in. But what she says next not only ramps up the awkwardness by 10 levels, but it also borders on manipulative.
To be in love. What?
What?
Yeah, what? That is not the way to tell someone you love them. The backhanded way of delivering the message, the lack of eye contact, it's all just very weird. Like, there's definitely a part of me that wonders whether this is manipulative, whether this is calculated. Is this Statler's way of trying to sink her hook into Dempsey? Trying to do her best to guarantee that even if this meeting with Dempsey's dad goes terribly, she might still be able to salvage the relationship. She might still have somewhere to live. It just feels like completely the wrong time to have said that. And Dempsey can't quite believe it either.
Wow, that was a biggie if I'll see my dad.
I don't know, it just came out.
That was a very awkward laugh from Statler. And Dempsey's face looks like she doesn't quite know what to make of it. Dempsey doesn't return those words. She doesn't tell Statler that she loves her. And in fact, if anything, this may have scared her off a little. Statler's moving very fast, too fast. And that, she thinks, is not only a red flag for her, but might also be for her dad too.
She's got, like, ahead of herself, and I'm worried that if she is too full on in front of my dad, that my dad won't support the relationship.
So with those worries at the forefront of her thoughts, the ladies finally arrive at their destination. And I bet Dempsey can't get out of that cab quick enough. What a long, awkward journey that was. But it's only gonna get even more awkward, because now it's time to introduce Statler to her dad.
Wow.
Hello.
Hi.
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You smell really great. You smell good.
Okay.
Okay is all he says to that compliment, and I think that sets us up quite nicely for what we're about to see. Dempsey's dad isn't the kind of guy that you can just sweet talk your way round. He's not gonna fall for those compliments. He's the sort of guy that will cut through the crap and see it for what it really is. Let's get down to business, he says to a very awkward, very nervous Dempsey.
Yeah, how's your coffee?
I want to need to know about this young lady you're introducing me to, not the coffee.
It's awkward. It's very awkward. And considering how close Dempsey is to her dad, she has a really tough time opening up. It's a real struggle for her to even say to her dad, "This is my girlfriend." You can only imagine that seeing Dempsey this nervous is only going to heighten Statler's own nerves.
And?
We're in a relationship.
Yeah.
There, you got there in the end, Dempsey. It wasn't that hard. Now, as Dempsey's dad asks more questions in a very nice, polite way, Dempsey does a full 180. She goes from really struggling to share anything to suddenly oversharing, and you can really sense her nerves at play here. She brings up Statler's past.
Statler has a thing for English girls.
So this is my second time coming to England to meet an English woman.
I don't think Statler was too impressed with Dempsey telling her dad that, and you can kind of understand why. It does put her in a negative light. Now, although Statler recovers well, when Dempsey goes off to buy their fish and chips, leaving Statler and Dempsey's dad alone, it's not long before Statler, in true Statler style, puts her foot in her mouth.
I was going to move to England because I was, in love. But she said, that's too fast for her. So at that point, she just kind of ended the relationship. And
this isn't a courtroom, Statler. You're not under oath to tell all the gory details of your past and the ex that thought you were too full on. You can literally see from Richard's face that he's taking it all in and he's not best impressed. But Statler isn't done yet. When Richard asks, hopefully you learnt from that experience, hopefully you're not diving in headfirst again, Statler drops a bombshell.
my lease is up back home. Dempsey and I haven't really talked about it, but it might be something I'm considering moving over here and moving in with her.
Richard can't believe what he's hearing, and at this point, everyone's reaction to Statler is starting to form a very similar pattern. Everyone, and I mean literally everyone, is telling her the same thing. Make like a turtle and slow the hell down.
I think it's nuts. You can't be fully sure on someone when you've only known someone for 48 hours. Give it a week, give it 2 weeks' time, things may be very different.
Remember, Statler and Dempsey have only spent a few days together in person. Up until minutes ago, Dempsey's dad didn't even know that they were in a relationship. So it's no surprise that he echoes the sentiments of Ben, Dempsey's best friend. And at this point, two of the most important people in Dempsey's life are saying exactly the same thing.
Just a complete and utter shock. I don't want either of them to rush in. They just need to take a step back. Things need to slow down.
Things need to slow down. He's just saying what all of us are thinking. He's just being a protective dad. But you've got to imagine that given how much importance Dempsey places on her dad's opinion, she's going to take these words on board. And before they leave, Richard pulls Dempsey aside to have a private word with her.
Just take a step back and let it happen. Don't let her push into anything. No rash decisions.
Yeah.
Yikes. The fact that he feels the need to privately warn his daughter not to get pushed around is a pretty clear indication of what he thinks of Statler, and the signs aren't good. What he's saying here is, I don't know if I like her. Be very careful. And it seems like Dempsey hears what he's saying loud and clear.
I'm worried Statler rushes relationships because she's craving love. So I think we need to slow down and I need to take a step back. Yeah, I do think that we should take things a bit slower.
And that, Dempsey, is before you've even heard her plans to move in with you. The thing is, at the end of the episode, we learn that today is actually Valentine's Day. And I dread to think what grand big gesture Statler is planning. This could go horribly